This week we'll be talking about performative activism.
Hello. Welcome to Adulting Piece by Piece, where we figure out life one chaotic puzzle piece at a time. My name is Lily.
And my name is Lola.
Wow, you keep showing that. Yeah.
I know, because it's cute.
It is cute. Good job for this. Cheers.
So, thanks for being with us on a new episode. We thought there is a lot of different world events going on recent times and a lot of different activism movements, people taking opinions on things. So this seemed like a timely episode for us to tell everyone to stop talking.
And we have our puzzle. Basically, I feel everyone hide behind their mask, and I guess like us.
Yeah, like us.
We're hiding behind our voices. And you know what? It's okay. You guys take our opinion, Listen to our opinions.
Yes.
But yeah, we're doing this puzzle. We're drinking wine. I said I'm not going to drink wine, but I said, you know what? It's okay. As the tattoo says, everything comes, it's okay. So I'm drinking wine.
How serious did you take yourself when you said you're not going to drink wine?
Actually, really serious.
Wow.
I actually this was like a whole built up. I'm not gonna drink wine.
You're driving here and you were like, I'm not going to do it. I'm gonna tell Lola you cannot convince me. And I was like, one wine? You're like, okay.
Yeah, it should took one. Do you want wine? I'm like, yeah, sure. All right, so we are gonna talk about how social media is fake.
Kind of. We will get into that. But sort of, there's a few different ideas I want to explore. But basically, I would say back in the day, being an activist was a lot more of a commitment. Like, for example, think about like the environmentalists that were, tying themselves to trees so that people wouldn't come and deforest the area. So it's like you really took time and effort to go and do these activist movements, and you really, really, really believed in that cause. Like
you stand by them. Yeah.
Whereas now, a lot of activism is like changing your profile picture to black. You say that you stand with this.
Hashtag.
Or like, your profile is like April 24, April being the name. I'm a Leo, hashtag Free Palestine, or whatever it is, right? But it's like, that took zero effort. You don't even know anything about this movement or that movement. Like, you don't even know why you're pro or against. You're just in it, because it's like, it's a cool thing to do, basically.
Yeah. I feel like people are not believing anymore. They're just a follower.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, back in the day, you actually believed for a cause and you studied it. You basically went and researched it. It's like, this is a cause I'm going to stand for global warming, for environment. And you couldn't have a conversation with them, and you were allowed to question them and ask them, why are you so passionate about environment? Why are you so passionate about global warming, or clean water, or save whales? So these environmental facts that people are truly passionate about. And what is that young girl, Greta? Yeah, not her.
Firm no on that one.
Yeah, not her. But as you guys, we had an episode talking about trad feminism. I don't know if you guys have enough understood. We are
firmly against
that too. We are firmly feminist, and that's a cause I Lily stand by it, and I have done research, and you guys listened to that episode. We had the research. I brought the history, the facts, why it's important, why it's this. So I feel maybe it's a millennial.
No, because I think millennials are falling for this.
Do you think so? Oh yeah, you're right.
I think there's different types of millennials. Obviously, you can't generalize everyone to one thing, but like depending on where you stand, like you obviously have a very firm anti-social media.
I do. Yeah, truly.
Shout out to everyone watching this on Instagram.
We love you guys. Please. you keep going.
But I think that naturally changes your approach to things and how you think about things compared to someone else who might be like a lot more invested into that life.
Because my point was like, I think this is more millennial thing, because Gen X's were, stop the war in Vietnam, and people were like, they truly believed in it, and they were protesting against it. And I guess right now the big things happening, I think is the right time to say, I guess a lot of people know about it now, and they know our background is from Iran. We immigrated from there, and that's a whole thing that's happening. If we stand by that because we came from that country, if we
have a stake in it.
We have a stake in it. We lived in that society. We went to school. Our parents, our grandparents. So when we take a stand and we say hashtag for Iran, we actually believe and stand, and you're allowed to come and question us. You're allowed to come and ask us, why are you standing by the new leader dynasty Pahlavi? Why are you with the Reza Pahlavi, or we were saying he's the king, Javid Shah, and why are you against this Islamic regime? And I guess we're passionate.
Very passionate.
And we answer your question. And if you're pro this Islamic regime, I would give you the floor to say why are you this, and I will let you to talk. But I guess a lot of countries that the reason they love this regime is, okay, here, because I studied it, the reason that why this regime came to Iran and why in Iran a lot of people were pro this, it's because back in that time, that specific time, rise of communism, and US, Europe, everyone was extremely scared of that, and they were going pro religion, and they wanted to promote religion, because if you are a religious person, you're actually not a pro communist. So it was the same thing happening in US, it was the same thing happening in Europe. There's movies, documentaries, was happening in US. So in that time, Irani government, Pahlavi dynasty, long live king, what happened, he basically got into this middle thing, and people were like voicing their voices and saying like, we don't want you, we want everything to be equal. Basically, they were more idealism of communists, and he basically shut their voices and put them in jail or told them like stop. And if you look at history, US went that way, like England went that way, France went that way, a lot of countries went that way. And so I guess the world brought religious figure in Iran, in Middle East, to make sure communism doesn't come to Middle East. And that's why Pahlavi dynasty went, and it was Islamic regime. That's how this whole thing is started. That's where the base is, like why people this. And if you ask another person about like if they're pro this Islamic regime, like, well, the Pahlavi dynasty took us to the jail and did this and did that, and you're like, why? My whole point is
the Islamic regime actually did worse to them.
Did worse, terrible. Actually, if you guys want to watch, I think Argo, which Ben Affleck directed it and played in it, they hung people because they were talking against that regime, and that's a sad. They hung people in a tree, so when you're driving through the street, you could see them.
And they continue to do so.
And they still continue to do to this day. So when we are taking a stand and when we are like talking about it, because we have a history. So if you see us change our profile of as any Persian does that or any Iranian does that, this is where it comes from, because that's what it is. In other causes, if you see an Iranian doesn't stand by a movement in US happening for Minneapolis, because they're like, yo, I don't know what's happening that. And I think that's allowed. But if like, you know, if it's allowed that I'm not talking about Venezuela, because honestly, I don't know anything about Venezuela. And I don't want our friends to stand for Iran as well, because you know what? They don't know it.
So I think it's not about like, are you from there or are you not from there? It's just like, have you spent the time to get to know that issue? Because you could be, I guarantee you, there's a lot of non-Iranians that understand Iranian politics and history better than I do, because they have an interest in it and have spent time. Like I've met people like this.
Yeah, they studied it.
So on any cause or any issue that's going on in the world, if you want to take a firm stance one way or another, like make sure you actually know where you're getting into. So like maybe I guess just to like keep going with this topic and why we're talking about it now is because I think one, in the past, in terms of the amount of news that you used to be exposed to was a lot more local and relevant to you, whereas now we're like constantly bombarded with news from everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, but also definitely not getting news from parts of the world. It's very selective.
It's really
like
selective.
who's funding it and who is it interesting enough, who is really funding behind to want to push this agenda. So in general, like, you're just we're over consuming bad news,
Information.
first of all,
I feel
because,
like you're
bad news
consuming
sells, so we're
any
over-consuming
information. It could
Yeah,
be about
any and all information.
anything.
But also because it's the news, it's primarily bad. So you're getting like an abundance of it, like more than any natural person can just like absorb, right? Because you might have like, these are the two causes I care about. Yours is, anything to do with Iran, probably anything to do with Canada because we live here. Also, like, any kind of like feminist or like women's movements. Like, those are the things you care about, so you'll spend the time and go research and decide what stance you want to take on it. The other gazillion causes, not that they're not important, but they're not maybe personal to you. You don't like personally have an interest in them, attachment to them. So like, you're not spending the time. So then you don't know all the different nuances. So the best approach would be don't take a stance.
That's true.
Because unfortunately, the way, I don't know which came first. Is it that we just want everything to be simplified and therefore now everything has become black and white because that's simple? Or did we force this black and white? Do you know what I mean? It's like the chicken and egg thing. Like, did we make the black and white? Did we get rid of the nuance in every situation? So now it's like, well, you either this or that. You can't be in the middle. Or is it that, like, this whole thing of like, we have no attention span, we have no this, like, is it those that have made it become black and white, where like no one has the attention span to do the research?
I think people are choosing the easy way because, like, honestly, when, again, my favorite topic, social media, when you're in it and you're going through the story, you become angry and you're like, why am I angry? And because you're like, when you watch it, the algorithm brings you more of that information, and then you're like, oh, maybe these persons are right, maybe this is correct. But it's just like an influencer sitting in a part of the world and just giving their opinion, as you're doing too. And you just like take that opinion and then you just go to this rabbit hole and then suddenly become a pro something and you stand by it without you're actually doing the research. I think that's what it is. But like, for me, I love social media, so I actually don't have anything to actually go look at it. So if
But you still see it on YouTube, like you still see it elsewhere. Like,
but
it hasn't
no,
gone away
it's actually so for
permanently.
me, if I want to see it in the news, I actually have to go to their like YouTube channel to see that specific, because their short doesn't have that much information. So if you wanted to have like a little thing about it more, you need to go invest in it. If I want to watch for a specific story, I have to watch it through TV, through the website. I have to actually read the news article. Like, I read New York Times, Global Mail, so I read news to get that information. Because I don't have time, as you mentioned it, I only read the information that it's so sad, but I care. I read the information.
It's not sad. I think this is everyone.
I guess
like,
so,
everyone else is just lying. Like, you didn't care to go do the research.
Exactly.
You saw this person change their profile picture to black, white, green, whatever the color, and then you're like, you know what? Copy paste. I'm gonna do it too, because now you instantly feel good about yourself. Because you're like, wow, I did this moral thing. I took a stance.
You took a stand.
You didn't, because like, you lost nothing. That one hashtag, the one whatever, it literally changed nothing in your life and changed nothing in that person's life. They're like, what did you do?
Like, same thing. All these actors, they put a whole like, I stand by this, but the little thing, and I'm like, please don't stand for anything. If you really want to stand for something, like end hunger, donate, go to Africa and build a water, build hospital. That with all the money you actually have, and instead of doing all those surgeries, make sure if you really stand for it, go ahead and do it. But they not, because it's actually much more easier.
Well, the ones that are doing it are not talking about it. They're just quietly doing things.
Exactly. Do you know actually? This is a singer. Smack That. Akon. Akon is actually one of the most. He's actually helping so much people in Africa. He actually has a whole community, and you don't actually hear about it.
Once told me about this. I'm like, how do you even know who Akon is?
Because people who actually read about it, that comes out. But he's not advertising it. He doesn't come to his Instagram be like, oh my god, I just donated today, and then follow, like, comment, and they're just basically doing for a show. They're not doing out of their goodness. There was an episode in Friends between Phoebe and Joy that they wanted to do a good deed, and Phoebe was like, do a good deed that you don't get any satisfaction out of it. And then that was the whole argument, and they were like, no matter what you do, you get that satisfaction. And Phoebe was like, well, that's not a good deed. But no matter what, that when
you internally will feel good.
You internally will feel good about it. but you don't need to advertise it. You don't need to post about it. No, just make sure like you help at your community. Don't advertise it.
Yeah.
So that goes same as like people talking about like, oh, I stand by this. Why do you stand by this? If I ask you a question, do you even know any information about that? Or you be like, oh, well, you know, this influencer talked about it, so I'm gonna follow what she's following, because you know what? They are followers, because whatever she, or like I guess I'm calling it she, whatever that person wears, they follow. Whatever that person buys, they follow. So if that person is a stand for this, these followers, they're gonna follow whatever they do without, so they're blindfolded. But
it's funny, there's actually recently started to, you're not on Instagram, so I will educate you on this one.
Yes, please.
There's starting to be a lot of pages actually where they'll literally do that. So for example, it'll just be like, one of them is just a group of younger millennials, whatever, and they just go around like campuses, for example, because so much activism has been happening on campuses. We'll come back to this one. And they'll just be like, oh, are you pro this or pro that? Why? And then they'll ask like very obvious questions, you know, like if you're like, I'm pro Palestine, do you support Hamas? Do you know what the Hamas wants to do? Do you want to globalize Antifada? Like they have no idea what
they
they're
can
talking
answer them.
about. Like they literally don't know what it is that they're talking about. So it's like, and then they'll go and show them videos and be like, did you like what you see? Would you like this to happen globally? And they're like, oh my god, no, absolutely not. It's like, oh, okay, so then you don't know what you're standing for. You're
but
just
some of them will become so defensive, and that you can't even talk, because or if you start questioning them, you because you don't stand by them with them, you get labeled. It's like, oh my god, you hate this? Oh, how dare you? So you're anti this, you're anti that. But I'm like, you're not even letting me question. Maybe
it's like a human response too, right? Like you don't know something, so like out of panic you actually get angry and like you attack the person instead of being willing to hear them.
It's all, as you mentioned about this whole the campus activism. It's like something like about media as well, as you mentioned earlier, about like who's funding them.
Yeah, and not even media. Like there has been so much money from like the Arab Gulf states to fund campuses in America, specifically to push certain agendas. And it's essentially like lobbying, like how you would lobby the government, but like in recent years we've just smart people with good and bad motives have discovered that actually instead of trying to lobby the politicians, you could get at the general public and be a lot more effective, right? It's like same way that there's been messages that have been coming through social media to like impact like voter turnouts and what people are going for. The same thing is now being done on like these big causes. So like I think everyone knows this, because basically any kind of revolution or movement that's ever happened, it's generally always that age group, like right, like the university group. They're always, I think they have the least to lose, and they're just like the most passionate of that age group, or whatever the case is. So like that's an easy way to try to push an agenda and then have like this whole population now half the time not knowing what they're talking about go and fight for you.
They do, because like even this Iranian regime in US, they have this like called lobbyists. So they're lobbying for Iran regime, and you're like, oh my god, people wake up. But like it's like media lists China, North Korea, Iran. The media is funded by government, so government has full control of that system, even the internet. So like in China, you can have Snapchat, you can have TikTok, I guess, because everything controls extremely by government. And in Iran, in this whole protest was happening, they just cut the internet. So when a government have a hold of this system, they control it to their favorite. However, in US, the rich people who whatever they stand and believe for that, and they have this gazillion money, so they open their own news outlet, and because they wanna funnel their ideas, the religious thing, what is that called, the Mormonism, they're the richest religion in US, so
Mormonism is the richest.
So they're funding these. Now they're making these Mormons. They have like a whole show about like
that explains our whole trad life episode.
Exactly. So
Let me go back.
So they're funding these like ideas of like, oh, Mormonism is not that bad too. Look, we have like a reality TV show. Like people are all
Yeah.
dressed up, so
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Come and join us. That's, you know, if you want. And then they're brainwashing these young kids. Goes back to Dread Wife again. Like, here, come and marry a rich guy and stay home because you need to provide this. Do you know what I mean? The point is, you have a brain, and if you want to follow something, you want to be a follower, use your resources, use your brain, use your time. The simplest thing, how these elder generation fall for scams. Look at these as a scam
we're doing
too.
the same thing.
It's the same thing, but you go tell your grandparents or your mom and dad, like, oh my god, this was a scam. How do you know that was a scam? Because your eyes and ears were open. You understood. You're like, oh my god, this is a scam. All right, so look at the media, news, information you're receiving as a scam to give you time to study that more. Say like, okay, if I'm gonna stay for being, I don't know, veganism because killing cows are bad, you study more. Say why veganism is good. Watch documentaries, do your own research, because there's documentary shows like veganism is actually useless. You know, there's nothing good
Those
comes
are
out of it.
passionate people. The people that are for
Yeah,
veganism,
but like
that's an activist.
that's an activism to the core. But maybe, you know what? They could come, because I'm not saying I have a lot of information. I'm just saying what I know. So if a veganism activist comes to me and asks me, I'm like, okay, I have nothing, a grudge or anything. I'm open to listen, convince me or give me information, and I'll think about it. Just look at the world in this view. Don't take everything as black and white, as you say. Always leave room for
1%.
colors. 1%.
Doubt. Especially,
You always come to that 1%, man.
I was gonna say, especially in this day and age where we know paid protesters are a thing.
Yes.
Everything is funded by someone.
100%.
Any world event that happens, it's because someone somewhere is benefiting from it. Maybe except for natural disasters, but even then, the way we respond to natural disasters, someone's benefiting. And like also this AI stuff, like fake videos, like there's so much to be uncertain about. So like use your judgment.
Yeah.
Don't be a sheep.
No, don't be. Like, have you seen, do you know what my husband showed me the other day? These AI that Trump and this Venezuela, they're dancing. You know it's fake, but it looks so real. If you show that to your grandma will be like, oh my god, is this actually happening?
Yes.
So look at the news.
There's ones even I've fallen for. Do you know, remember there was one that went viral? It was this, I think it was a bunch of squirrels jumping on a trampoline in someone's backyard.
Oh.
I was like,
don't
yo, this
remember
is so
that.
cute. Look how much fun they're having. And then I found out it was AI.
Oh my
and
god.
like basically everyone thought it's real. Because it just looks like this, like a video from like someone's camera in their backyard.
That is crazy. So you see, because like these dance that you know it's fake, you laugh at it. So look at all these information the world is throwing at you with that eyes. Do you know why? Because as Lola said earlier, back in the day, we didn't have internet. Back in the day, we didn't have access to information. We all knew about what happening in our small town. And you know what? All these crimes was happening under our nose. We didn't even know about them, okay? But now we actually know so much. By tiny little Google map search, well, you get so much information and everyone's just throwing so much information at you. You're basically swimming in the information. But it's a world we are living. We can go back. Yes, I cut social media, but I'm not this, as I said it in our social media, I'm not this person that living in nomad land with raising my sheep. No. You know? But I choose what I want to listen and I choose what I don't want to listen. So don't cut the technology. Use AI, use ChatGPT, use it to your, you know, there's so much good at it. And it's actually good that we have so much information. It's good that our news sources are extended. So we would, in a snap of a finger, we could know exactly what's happening around us and what's happening, where our taxpayer money goes, where everything goes. This is a lot of actually good knowledge we have. So we are not dissing them, but as this whole thing is happening in US, look at it in your own eyes. Check what Fox News, check what CNN is saying, check what your others is saying, and come to your own conclusion, because you're a human with brain. Think about it. Say like, oh, this is happening, why this is happening. Always do the why. What is in high school they taught us? The four W's?
The W's, the when, where, why.
And then the one was H, how.
How. Right.
Yeah. So use that. We actually got raised by that. Why not? So when you want want to consume something, go ahead. Don't fall for a lot of like whatever you hear.
Absolutely.
But like
I
about
agree.
the funding you said, I just like thought about it too. Didn't I think it was like United Arab said that whoever I don't want to send my student to England because
because they're now so radicalized.
yeah, that's crazy.
But,
do you know why?
even-
Because like Qatar is paying for all of it. They have the like, soccer. They own Qatar Airlines, obviously. They own so much stuff. So like that would just came to my mind. I was like, yeah, they're funding
it's
everything.
The same thing with how you said like in Iran, the media is government owned. It's the criticism people have of the government owned media here. Because we do have a very active and we keep putting more and more money into it, and like especially like conservatives always point this out, and like telecommunications in Canada is basically two companies. So like how hard would it be when the day comes for the government to really like be able to shut that down, right? So like there's a lot of these things that even like, in a very free society you might not think about, but
it's
as
happening.
COVID showed us, if push comes to shove and they really want to put certain restrictions, it's very doable.
Didn't like
especially
we had
for
like
information like this where we're very like docile and we'll be like, okay.
Oh my god, sorry.
We're so nice.
But like,
also,
isn't a couple years ago, like the whole internet went because there's only a lot of people, if they don't know, in Canada there's only two big internet companies. I guess phone ridiculous amount. One of them is Bell, one of them is Roger. Yes, they have like other tiny, but they're all the same. They're all the sister companies.
Yeah, they're using
so
the same
one
towers.
year. One of the towers for Rogers was not working. The entire country went blackout because one tower was not working. It's just crazy because this rich family has over control of it, and you're like, why? And why are you not letting other companies to come and invest? Like same thing with the grocery, same thing with everything's happening.
Such a monopoly.
It's such a monopoly, and it's because like yes, understandable. It's really cold. There's like there's a specific city or province you could like live. Honestly, this is sad reality. It's hard, but like there's a player. Yeah, 100%. And then the whole thing is like it's this country. It's capitalism, but not capitalism.
Canada is like the worst of socialism and the worst of capitalism.
Yeah, it's like there's no name for it. You know what I mean? You can't call it a socialism because it's actually not. You cannot call it capitalism because actually not.
Really not.
But it's just like there should be a name for this.
It's just Canada.
It's just Canada.
You just gotta come experience it for yourself.
Yeah, honestly, and you're like,
we love
crazy.
this country.
Oh yeah. No, seriously. I'm true love of Canada.
But
not. I don't like the winter.
There's much room for improvement.
100%.
Okay, before we wrap up, #end of it.
Hashtag. What happened? Us millennials used to do hashtag. Hashtag long live Iran.
And let us improve Canada. You're one of the week.
One of the week, this is sad. This is really sad. My family went to Cancun, and instead of really letting them Uber, I was extremely nice family member. Drove them in super, super cold weather, and I take that as a win of my week. You know what? I was a nice, kind person. I was. So I think that should count as a win of the week for me.
That should.
It was terrible weather. It was cold. It was 4 a.m.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I have a similar one. So my parents are also on vacation, and my sister just left for vacation. My parents are doing cruise in the Caribbean. My sister is doing a trip on one of those Caribbean islands. So they're actually gonna have a day where they meet. So my mom, in her panic to like leave in the morning, forgot her phone. So then I went and picked up her phone from the house, dropped it off to my sister, so that in like 3 days from now, when they meet on the island, she can give my mom her phone back, so that my mom can stop hijacking my dad's phone because she has taken it hostage.
Look at us being such a good
family member.
Oh. Cheers.
Hi, family.
Hi, if you guys listening, we do this, but we don't love it.
Yeah.
Don't ask us again.
Don't ask us again.
Thanks for being with us, but don't forget to like, subscribe. Always tune in on Wednesday. We're always here for you guys. Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.